Hey, I'm Bob Pittenger with Battle Creek Church in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I want to invite you to join us at the Lobby in Southern California, May 13th through the 15th. The Lobby is not like a lot of conferences are out there. At the Lobby, we do have large group times where we hear from some of the experts in the field and they talk to us as a large group. But rather than the whole conference be about them just preaching one after another, the group is more about networking. You will meet people at the Lobby who do just what you do and I do. Full time, we work with groups. We help people connect to Christ, connect to one another, and advance their journey with Christ. But one of my favorite things about the Lobby are the breakout sessions. They have all kinds of breakouts. Some of the things they've had in the past is how to do group link or how to do a group expo, how to train your leaders, how to grow in your leadership, how to start new groups, what type of groups to start, all kinds of breakout sessions. And in these breakouts, what happens, it's not just someone teaching you. They will say, hey, this is what's worked for us. And they take 20 to 30 minutes and explain that. But at the end of that, you have 30 minutes to an hour to discuss it as a small group. And hey, how would this work in Ohio or in Nebraska or Florida or Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, California? How would this work in my setting? What has worked for you? What hasn't? And then other people in the room chime in and they share what has worked for them. So you are getting not only what's working, but how it's worked in other churches. And this networking is just fantastic. I've made lifelong friends over the last 6 years at the Lobby that we talk throughout the year. When I'm facing a challenge, I give them a call or they give me a call and we talk to one another. So I'd encourage you, go to smallgroupnetwork.com and sign up for the Lobby May 13th through the 15th.
Hello, and welcome to SG Squared. Steve Gladen, the global pastor of small groups from Saddleback Church, pulls from his over 25 years of experience to encourage and equip listeners like you to lead small group ministry. So let's listen and learn together.
Welcome to SG Squared. Steve Gladen on small groups. Derek here with my man, Steve. How are you, Steve?
I tell you, I don't know if I'm happy, tired. I know I'm not sad or anything like that, but we are in the midst of a downsizing move. So it's causing quite the stress and strain and cleanup of everything in our house as we go down to a smaller size home. So it's just, it's a lot of trying to purge and throw away stuff, but at the same time, keep the things you want and just keep it moving. So I guess we could say it's a spring cleaning time.
So that's why
but we're moving.
That's why you look so wasted. Hey, I feel for you because moving is one of those things in life that I think most of us would agree that we detest.
I can understand why, you hear those stories of people who lived in their house for 60 years. I get it. They kept procrastinating, then all of a sudden, boom, they're with Jesus.
I am sorry for your pain. And it's interesting how your real life experience is dovetailing with our topic today, huh?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about some spring cleaning for you and some K's of spring cleaning, the letter K. But it also came a lot just from our own part as we're re-looking at our small group ministry, try to fine tune some things, get some more clarity from Andy. So I think they'll all resonate with each one of us, but we'll keep them high level enough so that you don't get lost in the world of Saddleback, but also be able to see how each one of these will play a critical part in your own small group ministry, because oftentimes, just like in a home, clutter happens. And so often in our own small group ministry, a lot of clutter can build up and all of a sudden you're just like going, how did that happen? How did we keep something like this? And so I think it's going to have some great relevance for you as you'll be able to parallel them to your own small group ministry and take an account of do you need to do a little spring cleaning in the areas that we're going to talk about. So we have 4 Ks. If you hang till the end of the show, you may even get a 5th one.
The 4 Ks of small group ministry spring cleaning. That's very Rick Warren-esque, Steve. I can tell you worked with him for about 25 years.
or a little bit longer, either way. But yeah, it bleeds into
Well,
you.
let's jump into number one. The number one K is kinship with leaders. Break this down for us.
Yeah. So I think one of the things for us, I think this is a big time. It is separating. We all want to connect with our leaders. We all want to contact our leaders all through small group ministries. Many different people go, I want to have two connections with my, with people who are leading groups, or I may want to have one or something like that. I think one of the things that I'm seeing more that we need to brush off the playbook a little bit and spring clean this one is the word kinship. And I put that there specifically because many times we got to move away from just being able to check off the box and say, I made that connection with that leader, to building kinship with the leaders. And this goes into the point of getting to know who they are. We talk a lot about hard and soft data, and the hard data being what we want to discover, soft data being what they want to share with us, and sharing about who they are, whereas the hard data is what we want to know. And I think one of the things I would just ask each one of you that are listening to this is, how much do you know? How much kinship have you built with your leaders so that you know who they are? And that it's more than just the surface level things, but being able to know, do you know their story? Do you know their family? Do you know, what excites them? Do you know their hobbies? Do you know what consumes their time? Do you know what their talents are? And this is all a part of just like when you get to know people. I mean, Derek and I have had a relationship over a decade, and there's pieces of him that I wouldn't know unless we took and spent some time together. So one of the things that I would encourage you to spring clean on is move away from just the contacts to your leaders, but really talk about the kinship. And kinship is a great word that you can look up, but it talks about going into the deeper layers of a friendship. And so you may go, well, good Lord, how am I going to have time to do that? And what I would say is, you don't have time not to do it, because you've got to get to know the sheep. The sheep have to get to know you. And the only way that they're going to know the voice of the shepherd is being able to spend some time with them. I think one of the things we talk about is you got to smell like the sheep. And part of that is when you do kinship with them, it could be spending a coffee with them and talking nothing about groups, but just interacting with them. And the more you build the kinship, the more they're going to be the people who will come alongside you in battle and want to hang with you as much as possible.
Yeah, what's that old saying that people spell love as time, time? So I
Yeah.
like your point about how you
Yeah.
can't afford not to spend the time with people. And yeah, in my experience in ministry, it was always so encouraging when a leader would, out of the blue, want to hang out or just spend some time with you outside of working on ministry, and just showing that they care.
Yeah.
And I remember from my old days of youth ministry, man, those kids probably never remembered a thing I preached, but I know they remember, you know, again, going out to coffee or just the fun things we would do, right? Me showing up at their sports games, and everybody's essentially the same like that. We're wired to be cared about. And so great point.
No, I think you're bringing up a great point there too, because it really is that whole point is that they won't remember what you taught them, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And you can't do that with a quick check-in and being able to leave a voice message or something like that. So I love what you're talking about. So kinship with leaders, first thing to look at in your spring cleaning.
Number 2 is keep clean data.
Yes. We always say that little phrase, data is king. And I guess we could be on this war. Is it data or data? I mean, we'll just, you'll hear it both ways on the podcast through the Pacific Northwest version and the Southern California version. But it'd be a good time to go through your data and start to look through how much of this is correct and how much of it is clean data. Again, you can't make decisions off of bad data, and data is always going to be your friend. Data will tell you different things, and it can be the insignificant, what can appear the insignificant things of, when does the group meet? Because you can say, well, that's not very important to know about until you're trying to plan an event and you don't want to have it a church-wide event, cascade or conflict with when the majority of your groups meet. So data can help you in many different ways. But what I've found is, as I've been at Saddleback 28 years, we're always discovering bad data. But there's a good time, and we're doing this with our teams, is we're getting together to saying, hey, this is going to be a time we're going to focus on data and clean it up and figure out, as we're spending time with our leaders, when can you fit in discovering, what's the best data we have on them. And part of that you can do in the beauty of technology is be able to send them out, here's what we know about your group. Here's who we know is in your group. This is when we know your group's meeting and stuff like that. You just tell if it's right or wrong. If the technology is there with you, a lot of times they can just clean it up and they can add, or they can subtract, they can change, and then they can just give it back to you. But I think periodically, because even my eyes get off my own group data in the database. I was looking at it, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I was looking at it and I was like going, it says our group is targeting 40-year-olds. I was like going, oh my gosh. The 40s were a long time ago. And so, but it was very painful to check 2 boxes up and, with that. But the thing I would say is periodically, and this is in your spring cleaning, bring a focused check on data and say, hey, this week, we're all going to focus on this to make sure this amount of data is all clean. And you can decide that on your own. For us, generally, we're just trying to look at, we have the right leader, we have the right people in the group, we have the right day and time of the group meeting, and then you can kind of build from there.
Keep clean data or data. Moving to number 3, this is a little bit different kind of K. It's the silent kind. It is know your playbook. What you referring to here, Steve?
Yeah. And this is another thing that you can brush on with the people that are volunteering in your small group ministry. If you're a larger small group ministry, you have other staff up there, but it's trying to keep your playbook clean. One of the things that we have at Saddleback is we have a 1-page macro playbook sheet, and then we have a more detailed one. And it's good to, again, get everyone to take a fresh look at it, kind of get them to say, what's one thing that you may have missed from before that you forgot? What's something that, is sticking out to you as something that's a little bit more current that you need to address? Some of you may look at what's outdated in our playbook. The scary thing is that usually when we do a spring cleaning and look at our playbook, we discover that words have changed, some things have changed, and life is busy and we just forget about it. If you don't know anything about the playbooks and you don't do your church, again, if you want to email me, steve@saddleback.com, I'll give you access to our single-page playbook and our playbook. But the point is that everybody runs, I was going to say everyone runs off a playbook. If you ever played an organized sport, they will always have a playbook that everyone is working off of. And if you don't have the playbook of what's essential for your small group ministry, what can happen is drift happens, and knowingly or unknowingly, people create their own playbooks and can get you off kilter. And so what you want to make sure that you have is fresh eyes on your playbook and be able to look at it and say, okay, this is what we're after and this is what we're trying to accomplish.
Know your playbook. Number 3, moving to number 4, Kindle Leadership. What's that look like?
I just couldn't help. I know you said Kindle Leadership. I'll jump into that. About know your playbook. I was just thinking, dude, did the Washington Huskies, did they play off their playbook this past fall season?
Ouch. Shots fired.
Coming from the national champions, Ohio State Buckeyes. But anyways, I digress. What was number 4
Well,
again?
I just
That
got to
was
say that for anybody that knows anything about the college football world, that's kind of what we're joking about here. And I salute you, Ohio State, for taking down the most evil team in the world, the Oregon Ducks, our arch rival. Well done.
Yeah, that's a fun game to watch again. We'll watch it together
Yeah.
sometime.
I'll fly down to Cali just so we can watch the highlights of that beautiful heavenly game.
That beat down.
All right. So yeah, we said number 4 is Kindle Leadership.
Yeah. And I think this is the one that is super important, is that you need to have a pathway to kindle and build leadership in every person. So let me dissect this for you. For one, as a pastor, you need to have your pathway as a pastor and be able to say, what are those different levels? How am I training our pastors to be the best they can be? And what's that pathway look like? Then there's also a pathway for our community leaders who help oversee our leaders. And we want to have a pathway from being a community leader to being a minister. And then with our hosts that lead our small groups, we want to have a pathway from being a host to being a leader. And then with our people that are in small groups, we want to have a pathway from being an attender to being a member of a group. And you can't kindle next steps in leadership unless you know the pathway of each one. And so what I would challenge you to do in this spring cleaning motif that we have going here is to think through, if you don't have them, then, start to figure out what is it that you want to have. If you want to see ours, if you want to go to saddleback.com/small groups, you can scroll through that page and there will be different pathways that you can look at that will help you discover what we do. But even with that, we're right in the process of making them a little bit more simpler. A pathway doesn't have to be complex, but you do have to know what are the 3 or 4 steps for a group attender to be the member you want them to be. There has to be the 3 or 4, maybe even more steps for wherever you're bringing a host in to being a leader that qualifies them. And the same thing for the people who are helping you in small group ministry. How do you move them from being a community leader or a coach, whatever you call them, to being a bona fide person who's a minister working alongside of you? They may be volunteer, but the main thing I'm talking about in this is oftentimes we're not even looking at their development. And that's something that can slip away. I know every one of us want to do it, but you have to have some metrics in place to see how you're doing it.
Well said, well stated. Those are the 4 Ks of small group ministry cleaning, brought to you by Steve Gladen from his mind. And I always thought it was funny that your initials are SG. It's kind of like you were born for small groups.
I was a little bit of Calvinism creeping in there, that I was destined to be that. But
Steve, any final thoughts on these 4 Ks?
Well, when you get those all dusted off, what's going to be great is I'd throw in a 5th K right there, and that is kick spiritual butt. Because there's nothing more fun than if you've been on a team and you win. It is so wonderful. And so often we always say, you hate losing more than you love winning. But the point is that when you're victorious, when you taking the time to do some spring cleaning and dust off some stuff and kind of look at these 4 Ks, the 5th K comes natural, because often the older I get, the more I realize it's who I do ministry with more than what I do. And when you get these spring cleaning things done, you find out that you build a little bit of team and camaraderie, and you'll find out that you're winning so much more when you dust off these things and do that spring cleaning. So get that 5th one in there and you'll have a whole lot more fun.
For those that stayed on the whole episode, they just got blessed with a 5th. Well, that's your 4Ks, or I should say 5Ks of Small Group Ministry spring cleaning, and take those to heart. They will make your small group healthier and more vital. It'll have more vitality than ever. So we want to thank everybody for listening, watching. Do us a favor and like this podcast. If you're on Spotify or YouTube, leave us a comment. If you can give us a 5-star rating on Spotify, that would be great. And even better, share this with somebody that you think would be encouraged by it. We hope you are encouraged. And until next time, have a great month.
Come pack with me, everybody.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. And to dive in deeper, get more resources, or join the Small Group Network, just head over to smallgroupnetwork.com.